I know that all of us are speaking Hebrew, but I would like to move to English because there are some English speakers that don't speak Hebrew. So we're going to do that and it's recording. So I'm going to leave it later on for the people who want to watch. I'm so happy, Ilana, that you are here. I know that I'm speaking about you all the time when I tell the story about SMTW. And I'm so happy that we are having the privilege to see you here and to have you here and to, for me, it's complete when you're here. Like you can spread your wisdom, you can bring your insights, your points of view in terms of, your field, your way. And I know that I'm expressing all what connected to the, neuroplasticity in such a bad way, because I'm not, like, it's your part. And I'm so happy that you're here. So thank you.
Can I say something to you at one moment? Yeah. First of all, honestly, I'm honored to see how far you've taken this. Something about, like, as I'm sure that everybody knows, that we started just because, two friends playing around and sharing knowledge. And there's something about you that you know how it feels when somebody believes in you before you believe in yourself. Then you think that you can almost do anything. And that's how you made me feel all the time. So, you would come up with this idea and I'm like, oh, she believes that I can find the answer. She believes that somehow I can make a connection. I'll find it. So, Kineret,
it's a win
for that.
It's totally, it's together. It's a dance of two all the time. It's a dance of two. And that's the game that we created, a dance of two. So when you're here, I feel complete. And I don't want to waste the time. We have a lot, I guess, I'm here to answer questions. And Ayelet, toda that you're here. And I want also to mention about Ayelet, that Ayelet took it to the next level in terms of the practicum. And I'm not taking that for granted, because I know that without you, Ayelet, the academy would be developed only within, like, I don't know, like a few more years. And you trusted, by the way, if we're talking about trusting and we're talking about visions, Ayelet loved to call herself giraffe because she sees very, very far. And she saw something that I couldn't see, or I didn't want even to believe. And I was trying to sabotage within the last year. I didn't, like, I needed time to create, like, to adjust the gap between what you see, Ayelet, and between who was I back then when you saw it. So I'm very, very happy to see how far you took it in terms of the practicum. And I can see it now. I can see the vision. I really can see it. And I'm so happy to have you. And I'm so thankful for that. And yeah, I think it's, it's the energy of really helping each other and to fertilize each other. And it's all the time a dance of two. So the energy that we brought, Ilana and I guess that's the energy that speaks and resonates in this space, which means someone see like a very high vision or far vision, and the other one is like, okay, he sees that. Okay, I'm reaching this out. Okay, I will make it happen. And this is the game. At the end, that's the game. This is what we're doing here. Show me the best way. Show me the way. We put a vision. We put like effective question. And we're starting to, step after step, we are stepping towards the vision. So it's beautiful to see the energy. And thank you, all of you. And Ilanit Bichlal. It's funny because all three of you are kind of like milestones or anchor to this process. Ilanit was the first trainee in the practicum, in the real, like in the professional practicum. No, I'm not talking about the one before. And she believed in Shomi long time ago, before, like when Shomi was in the diapers, like when Shomi was just started to walk. Ilanit was one of the first clients that was there. And because of Ilanit, I had like many clients that she referred. She was in high tech. Can I tell your story? Ilanit?
Sure. Sure.
And
I would love you to tell me
told me
stories.
like a month ago, 2 months ago, and she's like, I left the job. Like I'm fully dedicated to the coaching, to what I'm doing now. And I want to ask you, what like where are you now?
Oh my God, so much going on. So yes, I left my career to focus on coaching, because when you see people lives change, you can't sit at your desk 9 to 5. Like you can, like your bum is not staying on this on the chair 9 to 5. You're like, you're moving. You're like, okay, what's next? Okay, I'm sending that email, but what's now? So yes, I left my full-time job about a month and a half ago. So I'm getting busier. I'm getting clients from all kind of communities. I am training Shomi in Russian. So, and Soviet mindset is very stiff. The muscles of, compassion and forgiveness are not existent. So lots of work, lots of very, hard work of almost recreating these muscles for these people. It's been amazing. I'm starting with someone from the Asian community tomorrow, which I had very interesting conversation with. And he was telling me, yes, I know Adler. Yes, I know Taoism. Yes, I know. He knows everything. He just doesn't know how to use the tools. I'm like, okay, let's see how this is gonna happen, right? And I have our community for sure as well, like Hebrew speaking from all different areas, downtown, midtown, uptown, and it's amazing. I love it, and I'm learning. I'm learning a whole bunch of other.
What do you feel that you're learning from that process?
First, I love the love. The amount of love you receive throughout this process is, yeah, sometimes I'm tired, but then I envision my session with the client a few hours ago, and then you all of a sudden, full of energy and you can keep going and going. And it's a non-ending energy almost that, one client asked me, but how do you energize yourself? Like, how do you make sure you're not drained throughout the sessions? I'm like, how can you be drained? We give energy to each other, right? We never go into these draining places at all. I love everything about it. Like, I can't say enough. I love every single, second of it. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
I can feel on you that, behind the scenes, I can see your commitment to that process. I can see how far you want to go with that process. Like you're fully trust in that process. And I can see that, like the way you talk, the actions that you're having, it seems like you're on a wave that you took it, and you're on that wave.
If I left my career for that, I'm committed. 100% I'm committed.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
And thank you ladies for creating this, because there's nothing like that out there. And now that I'm focusing on it full time, I'm meeting so many other coaches and seeing so many other ways and techniques and modalities, but there is nothing like Shomi.
Listen, every technique is different, and the population in the world is huge, humongous. There are lots of varieties.
Lots of varieties. Lots of varieties.
Every person has his own teacher. And I think whoever is coming to show me are the people that they are ready to take responsibility, to look at themselves from a total different angle, and to look at people and the conversation with themselves, which I don't think it's, you know, higher or lower than other methods. I think
No, just
that
different. It's
the
just different.
energy of people that are ready to explore and ready to do some work in terms of really the self work. It's a work.
Yes.
Work.
Yes.
You know, and I know that coaching in general, it's Ayelet is doing a great job and gives a lot of tools in terms of coaching, and Show Me are working very well together, because the Tao, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ilana, how I see the Tao, because everyone has his own Tao and everyone has his own perspective about Tao. The Tao is all about listening to the pace, listening to the rhythm of the two voices. And normally one voice is like rush, wants to go far, wants to go very quick, and the other is like the opposite, is taking time until he's adjusting all the information, all the transformations, all the energies. And for me, Dao and this game is to teach people how to listen to those two voices, and how to create the trust, by the way, trust in me when I can see that on me. I can see that when I'm listening to my pace, and I'm not listening to what other people are telling me to do, and I'm listening to the game pace, the pace that the game is leading me. I'm integrating some parts in me that by integrating them, I'm creating the trust. I'm creating the trust in me, and then I'm creating the trust more in this process, and then I'm radiating it outside. But Ilana, I would like to hear from you what you have to say about the Tao.
Oh, about the Tao. I mean, I think you said it. It's like everybody and their Tao. Just one thing I was thinking, that it's not so different than anything else out there. It's just a different way of expressing something. It's like, I don't know, like if you have a scarf with all kinds of, with a full load of pictures on it, and, you know, somebody will wear it and make a bow out of it. Well, these are the pictures that you're going to see. You take that same scarf and you make a belt out of it. There might be different pictures that appear, and it's just the same material, but brought in a different expression. So for some people, this kind of expression works better. And sometimes you can integrate it. Sometimes you can wear it as a bow tie. Sometimes you can wear it as a belt.
That's a beautiful metaphor. Do you want to speak about metaphors? Because you said something so smart about metaphors, and I would love to hear it here and to share it here.
It's just, I mean, with this development of the game, I mean, I just keep the ideas, like for everybody, just keep popping up. And I was thinking how the Tao speaks a lot in metaphors. Almost every one of the chapters speaks to metaphors in nature. And then so I went to see how the brain processes metaphors, and why in language, when we speak or write, the more metaphors we use, the more of a sensory understanding we have, as well as a mental understanding. So the metaphor enables us to, like, if I say the church bend their rules, the other way around. If I say the church changed their rules, okay, it changed their rules. But if I say the church bend the rules, there's something that happens internally, because you're using or if I say, you know, oh, it's really difficult to speak to her. But if I say something like, she's hard as nails, it gives you it automatically has a somatic attachment to the thought. So that's, and then I went to see how the brain processes metaphors. That's something that I'm going to write about now, because I'm learning it as I'm inquiring. which is interesting.
I will be very happy to hear. Like for me, every time you bring me some insight from that world, it makes sense for me. When it makes sense to me, I can, you know, accepting the process. And I think that's the purpose of this game. Show Me talks about how to connect the mind with the heart. And I love to call Show Me as a mind massager. Mind massager, because when we have a massage, we can relax. And when we can relax, the mind muscles are getting relaxed. And when the mind muscles are getting relaxed, they process that in a total different way, so they can sink all the information into the heart. And
I like that metaphor.
Where transformation is starting. So I call it a mind massager, because from, you know, the experience that I have throughout the years, I could see that Show Me talks to the right, like talks to people from so many, to a variety of people from so many levels, ways of thinking. I mean, and what I like to see is that the group of and I say conventional people who, you know, the left brain is very very stiff in terms of like the conventional thinking. I'll give an example as my husband is Eitan, my partner. He's like that. He works in corporations. He likes the box. I like it, you know, the places that is very, he knows how to step very well there, he knows the dance. And when I started to practice with him, Show Me, I remember the point that the reaction was, I remember it. He didn't want to do all the process, and then he got into the receive mode. He got into the step number 5, which is the receive mode. And I didn't say like you're receiving messages from the universe, because, by the way, left hemisphere is the opposite of like listening or hear about it, like right now, the universe. So I said, like, what you're doing right now is to flex your mind and to think in a total different way by just moving the perceptions from one emotion to another. And by that, you're playing with this, you know, your state of mind, like you're massaging your thoughts and look and observe, and you practice observation of your emotions by that. And he started to do it. And I remember his like reaction, automatic reaction it was, and he said, "This is genius." And it's very not common to Eitan to say it like in the, and I remember that moment very, very well. And for me, it was a signal that, yeah, I can express it, I can explain it in so many ways to people. So when I speak their language, they just need to adjust the mind to, you know, understand that right now they need to trust in kind of like a process, that they're moving like a roller coaster. Lots of things won't make sense for them. When I speak to the mind and I say, it won't, like I set expectation and I said, it won't make sense to you. So the mind is ready. And he needs to be ready. The mind is like, I need to be ready. I need to be ready. I need clarity. So it's so important to see who is your, you know, trainee, who is the person that's sitting in front of you, and to speak his language, not your language. Don't be like a computer. Yes, it's a game, and there are steps of the game, but be an artist. Be your Dao coach. Be the art that you became to be, not me. And this is just a game. It's not just, it's a game. It's a beautiful game. It's a beautiful process, but you can play with it. Yes, in the practicum, you're asked to follow the rules. And there's some rules that I will, like the ethical rules of Show Me, which I think they are mandatory And when I say mandatory, I'm saying right now in terms of show me Tao way, okay? I'm sure there's some other coaches or instructors, facilitation tours in the world that talks about Tao in a totally different way. My Tao, show me Tao way, the highest value is balance. And in order to create this balance and the movement with the balance, and to look at some kinds of like painful places, very delicate, vulnerable places that the hearts really needs some kind of nourishment there, because he was closed most of the time. So we need to listen to the pace of the two voices. We can't come with האמת המסנוורת, with you know, the flashlights towards, you know, and
Blinding truth.
sorry,
No blinding truth.
no blinding truth. And I think that's mandatory for Show Me. That's ABC for Show Me. You can't come as a coach that knows better and to put some kind of like perspective, which is only yours, and to say, I know better than you. This is like the subtext of to put the flashlight and try to accelerate some processes. When you do that, for me, it's not Show Me Tao way. We need to build the trust. We need to build the trust. And if you're a coach who trusts yourself in that process and you trust that process, lead the people with questions, because to create trust, the person, we need to teach him how to expand himself. And only by leading himself, asking questions, powerful questions. And you have so many ways to ask questions in this game. This game is layers after layers after layers of creativity. You can ask questions through the 5 elements. You can ask questions through the emotional levels. You can ask questions, coaching questions that you were studying the practicum. You can ask questions that you can see something in the horizon and you don't want to say it, but ask the question of, do you see it that way? You need to be so delicate in this process. There is something called תסמין המתחזה, you know, the syndrome of the pretender.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome, and it might occur to you after when you finish the practicum. And it's very natural as long as you're aware that you are in that state of mind. And when we do quantum leaps, yes, we will have this like imposter syndrome. But if you hold and you can't depend on that, and I will explain what it is. The imposter syndrome is when the outside world see you in a role that you yourself don't see yourself yet. You're not ready yet. Like the heart is not fully complete in the process. בעברית קוראים לזה חצי אפויים. In Hebrew you call it חצי אפויים. And you need to understand where you're at in this scale. You can't pretend that you already know all the answers and to come from a very professional point of view that in that place you are not humble enough to be also the student, not only the teacher. It's a journey of a dance of student and teacher. And sometimes I'm the student. Sometimes I fail. Sometimes I am losing the balance, and I'm sharing it in a very delicate way because there is a reflection there that speaks maybe the same. And I do it with a lot of respect. to the other person in front of me. I come with like zero judgment to the space. I can't. If I come with judgment, it's not Show Me way. Like, it's not. It can be like, I can see all the possibilities. I can share all the possibilities in a very open conversation, but it's supposed to come from a place in your heart that you're fully come from pure intention to the space. There, you can't lie in Show Me. You can't. Like, people feel you. People immediately will feel you, because the process itself, it's like a trip that you go, and together you're holding hands, and the trainee sees a flower, and he's like, hey, look at this. And I'm like, hey, look there. And he's like, interesting, but I prefer to look at this. And I will like, okay, so let's look at this flower. It's not about, you look at there, you have to be there. No, it's not about that. It's not the game. And it's beautiful because it's playful and it's fun. And it talks about very heavy loads, but it teaches you how to work and how to create trust. And trust, believe me, it's lots of lessons of patience. Lots. It's actually, in Hebrew, you have two versions to say patience. One is savlanut, which means the root of savlanut is misery, pain. And the other one is hamtana, which is the roots of that letters is gift. And when you wait and your state of mind is out of impatient, like suffering, savlanut, so the dance is tough, it's heavy, it's painful, because the gaps between the two voices, it's like it's integrated, but in a very like roller coaster, ups, downs. But if mamtin, hamtana, if you know and you believe and you fully trust, that's where the trust builds. Trust builds because someone else sees you more than you can see yourself. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And that's, I think, how I started, is when you saw things in me that I couldn't even see in myself. I think as you were talking about trust, I know that like in the clinic, I feel that trust happens. It just happens. It's not something that you have to make happen. It happens when you fully leave your world, you fully are in another person's world. And I think with Show Me, with the questions, with the game, you can quickly, as you said, you're going on a trip together, you can quickly just be there to share, to be in their trip, not in yours, to be on the road with them. And the minute you're on the road with them, there's a bond, because it's like, I'm validated, I'm understood. I think it just creates trust.
So thank you.
Sweet.
What's the time? We have half an hour. Do you want to do some exercise? I know that you need to go, Elana.
I have to drive now. So
But
thank you so much.
Thank you so much that you were here.
No, Hamudot, bye. I'm not supposed to speak Hebrew. Okay.
Bye, Lanush. Thank you.
Bye, everyone. Have fun.
Wow. מאיפה זה בא לי? מאיפה בא לו הדמעות האלה פתאום? דיברתי. I meant it.
כשמדברים honesty ומדברים את הרגש, אז it's honest.
בואו נעשה תרגיל.
יאללה,
בא לכם?
do it.
Do you want to do some exercise together?
Mhm.
Or do you have
Okay.
some questions maybe?
I'm trying to think of, question that is real for the clients I work with. But I wanted to add to what you were saying about patience, because what I see between the give and the receive mode, that's when we need to start actually practicing the patience.
Yes.
Because that's when I see that the clients, okay, what now? Okay, I want to see difference. I don't feel anything. What's happening now? And then you have to slow down and you have to
Don't
trust
forget-
yourself.
Yes,
And to
that's where
trust
all the
them.
resistance are starting.
Yeah.
That all the the
Yes.
resistance is there's some resistance on the way. I don't understand what she's doing. I don't understand what she's doing. But all of a sudden, the bigger
Yeah.
picture is like,
Yeah.
and at the beginning, it's very overwhelming, and that's where they're starting to build the trust and the patience.
And the patience. Yeah, that's when we start working on. And for me as well, every time
Big
I
time.
have to remind myself.
Big
Yes,
time.
we already kind of have a good, understanding of who the person is, but there is still so much to discover. This is just the beginning.
So true, so true.
Yeah.
And as long as you are humble enough to understand it, I feel that the person in front of you can trust
Yeah.
you. Because
Mhm.
when you are trying to come from a professional place that I know better than you still, it's like to go to, and I'm not saying the doctor is not important, but it's not coaching. It's like to go, to a doctor that knows better than you which kind of remedy you need to take. It's not a game. This is not
Yeah.
that game. That game, it's about
Yeah.
really see the what is there in between the words.
And it goes both ways. Every session you learn so much. And I can share something personal about myself that it's just, I was talking about it yesterday with my client.
Sure.
So we had a little difficult situation here at home. Me and my partner, we decided to separate, crying for like a week straight, very, very hard situation. And I was driving to this client, it was last week, and I'm driving and I'm like, I'm gonna get answers. I'm gonna get the answer I need to how I can start figure this situation out. I got to this client, the last 5 minutes, we were talking about superpower as resourcefulness is their superpower. I'm driving home and I got this aha moment. This is exactly my thing here at home. I was always so resourceful to everyone in this house that the minute I step back, that's when everything got disconnected. And I had to reconfigure and communicate.
Yeah.
And communicate effectively from the positive and the half cup full, right? And yesterday I came back to this client and I was so honest and I said, thank you. And we looked at the superpower again from both sides and we were reflecting. And it was so beautiful. And we were both, she was crying. I was, trying to still hold it together as a coach. But inside, I was so touched and so emotional, and it was just beautiful.
We're getting answers in that.
Yeah, we're getting answers.
We are getting, actually, I love to see how people are getting attracted to that process, because for me, every time a new person is coming, it's kind of like telling me, I want to learn from you, and you will learn from me something.
Yeah.
And it's really, really kind of like, okay, do you want to dance with me? It's kind of a question that I feel
Yeah.
every time I'm starting this game with somebody. Is like, okay, what kind of view I will, I will take a trip today. What kind of view will I see there? What kind of flowers? What kind of trees? And Ilana will put more information about metaphors, but this game talks basically by metaphors.
Yeah.
And she said
Yeah.
that when we go to sleep, correct me, Ilana, if I'm saying something wrong. I'm sure that you will deliver it better way. But in general, when we go to sleep, we dream with metaphors. We dream with symbols. And this is how the brain talks and wants some messages, want the messages to process. And
Yeah.
when we do that on that game, which I love, the fact that it holds really, really high the value of balance. So it brings up just a layer that the person is ready to process with himself.
Yeah.
So
true.
so it's kind of like, I love to call it like peel a layer of, משי. אני לא יודעת איך קוראים לזה באנגלית. A layer of-
Silk, and that's where I see the trust is building, like strong trust, is when they throw something at you, and then you peel just a thin layer of that, because they're throwing it at you and they're waiting for this band-aid, right? With lots of pain and struggle, and they're preparing for that. But then, oh, this didn't hurt. Oh, I can handle that. And then they trust themselves.
Yes.
And
Slowly.
the next time we can look at a different layer. And then as the game progress, I see that, oh, wow, we like peeling, duct tape and everything is fine.
Listen, it's all about measurements. It's all about measurements. And what you said right now, it's interesting because yes, they are trying to test, if that's
Lots of
delicate.
testing.
Oh, wait, what measurement I still keep my balance. And back to metaphors, what I'm saying is that that's how I encourage you to process that thing, the sentences with your clients. I'm finding that in the pictures, every person gives totally different perspective. Totally. And it's so fascinating to see how the mind works and how we can expand only by, asking them more and more and more about metaphors.
Playing with that. Only by playing with that. Yeah.
So use all what the tools that Show Me brings, which means a lot of, I call it lots of colors in your plate. You have lots of questions to ask, from the deepest layer to the superficial layer, and just play with it. Play with your question. You have like a bucket of tools. Ayala, do you want to add something from your world, from your coaching world?
Well, you spoke about so many things.
Choose one.
I don't know where to start and what to add to. I loved what you said about Show Me being a game of balance. The way I see it, and that refers also to metaphors, is that it's a multi-layer balance. It's a balance of the right and the left brain. It's a balance between the inner and the outer world. And you know that I love metaphors. When you came to my office and I showed you the things I used to work with before even you Show Me existed, and I think before Show Me existed, because Show Me didn't exist when I started working with this stuff. I showed you all the pictures I used to cut for my clients from newspapers and give it to them to start the session. I showed you do you remember the bag of, because I believe that I loved, one of my teachers once said that metaphors are like lint to the brain. Do you know what lint is? It's like
No, תגידי.
it's like, you know how like when you put your clothes in the dryer and you have all of this stuff that sorry?
Yeah. No, I
all of
thought
this
you said
stuff that
lint, but it's
lint.
lint.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like gathering all of these little things from the brain, because when we use metaphors, it captures much more than words can, and because of that, it also allows one of the most important things, I think, in coaching, which is space. Because this is where growth happens, actually, not when we talk.
What you said.
It's just after we ask a question. It's the space we allow. So when we use a metaphor, when we ask a client, choose a picture that kind of presents the most the way you feel right now, and they actually use more of the right side of their brain, not only, but more. But then we ask them to use their words, and that is at the left side of the brain, and that integrates the brain. And just the practice of doing just this little thing of the picture and the words creates integration, and the impact on us physically is an impact of grounding and balance and stability, and that immediately makes us feel safer. And that's the base for, I think, the trust that is starting to be built at the first session, because when we gift that to our clients and they feel it, and this is where space comes, because it's really important to give them space after we do that, because it's, instead of going to the next step and asking the next question or making the next observation, just letting them feel the ballast, the grounding, the integration that they just created, and they feel it, and then they start trusting. They start trusting the process, they're starting the coach. And
So what you're saying is the trust is built in the quiet places, in after you ask the question. That's where we bring the responsibility, the energy to the person. We throw the ball, we pass the ball to the person. And by that, what we are saying to him is, to her, to the trainee, is now it's your turn to answer, to find the tools, to give the tools to yourself. Now it's your turn to be the guide to yourself. And by that, it's kind of like the quiet places are the places that the person is like processing and do the work and do stuff and create trust and starting to, merge and integrate, the places that are still fighting with each other.
Yeah, it's exactly, I love to compare between what happens actually everywhere, and because it's everywhere, it's also in the coaching session, to what happens in the coaching session. It's the same as there's mostly space. We are mostly space. Everything around us is mostly space. And so when we talk a lot about about space in coaching. There is a space between the words, space between the questions. There is also holding space.
It's a big one.
Yeah, it's a big one. And it's and you spoke about what happens many times to coaching at the beginning of their coaching career, where they feel an imposter syndrome, or when they feel lack of self-confidence, or and this is because sometimes, many times, the clients push us in the direction of being the expert.
It's true.
Of giving us
So true what you just said.
Give us the answers, and because
And
of
you don't need to own, like, what do you do? It's so interesting. Like, what do you see? Like, when somebody is trying to push you to be the expert, what do you do as a coach?
First of all, I feel it. I allow myself to feel it. It's okay to be quiet sometimes and to use some time of the session to feel what's happening inside us. Because this push to be the expert, this push is a great friend of our ego. And it's important to look at this relationship and decide what we want to do about it, and what's the right thing for the client, and what we are actually doing here. And many times at the beginning of a coaching relationship, we feel the need to use a lot of words. I see it many times with coaches at the beginning of a coaching relationship. They use a lot of words. They use a lot of questions. They talk.
Which is great. Which is, at the beginning, it's very natural and normal. It's important also.
Absolutely. I'm not saying it's not, but I also see coaches as they gain experience.
I can tell you that I was speaking a lot at the beginning, a lot. And by the way, if you've noticed in this game, at the beginning, the energy is more of on the coach, like the expert. He speaks more. He teaches. He needs to teach it at least in the 3 first sessions. The energy, on the information is coming from the expert, from us, from the coaches, from the practitioners. And I love to set the expectation with the trainee, and I say, in this game at the beginning, I'm speaking more than you at the beginning, but later on, and from, let's say, session number 3 and on, I will start to ask more questions. And yes, it's also kind of like you said, balancing many layers. And I think the big one here, as a message for people who coach practitioners, when you coach yourself in that game, now I'm going to have the online course. There will be a lot of people who, train themselves throughout this process and will be in the community. But I'm talking right now to the practitioners in Show Me and beginning coaches in any other fields. It's also a game of balance between how much I'm the expert and how much I give right now to this process from a place of, I don't need to know. I don't need to know. You need to know. And you know.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I do on the first few sessions, and I see the tendency happening quite a bit, is when I first meet with the person, they want to tell me everything. They want to tell me about their partner, their problems with their parents, their kids, their issues, everything, every single little detail. They want to throw at you and see how you take it. And what I usually do, I ask them to pause and not to tell me anything, because this is creating a little bit of disattachment from their story that they're cycling in. And then I see their eyes are like wide open and they don't understand. What did I just say?
Yeah, because normally
And
when
the
you go to
brain
psychologist,
is
when you go to coach, so you want to tell the stories, you want to share the story that you're ready.
story. You only tell one perspective of that story anyways. So it's kind of a waste of time because we're going to look at the story from so many angles later on. So just say, I don't want to know anything, and let's see what the process is going to show us, teach us, unveil, whatever you want to call it. And then it brings so much grounding and pausing and, quiet to the space. I think it's magic.
It's a great way to start. It's basically what you do. You take the first step of the game, which is spider, and you teach them by not sharing the story. What you're doing is like, okay, I'm doing the spider with you right now. Basically, what I did, I paused. I put the P in the autopilot. I put the pause, the perception, the process. And by doing that, you walk the talk, because it's the first game of the game anyway.
And then they learn right away, kind of building the trust, because everything they were starting telling me is so many times completely different from their spider.
Wow.
Right?
Wow, because they're speaking from
there is a surface and there is the subconscious and there is the space.
I guess like number 5 is more of that, the chattering stories that they wanted to share before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Thank you.
It's also when we hear people who take over the conversation and talk a lot, it's usually because they have some level of anxiety. And when we talk a lot, we take over the space. And then we know what's going to happen. So we are in control.
It's true. And it's important for us as practitioners to see that. In general, as human being, to see that. And I think that's mainly the purpose of what I am considered as show me the way, to be humble, to release the control by releasing the state of mind that you know better than other, by understanding that when you are in the beginning of your journey as a coach, you will be unsecured, which is totally fine. And let's say the gap between the pretender, like the fake until you make it, I hate this phrase, but we all have that in Quantum Leaps. We all have that in Quantum Leaps. So we need to embrace that space, and it's a very uncomfortable place, okay? Because on one hand, we are striving for honesty and humbleness and a very delicate, truth that are coming from here. But at the same time, you need to speak in a way that still bring the metal element into balance. When I say balance, the metal element, when you do some quantum leaps, I can tell you that right now I'm in kind of like a quantum leap. My root chakra, my back pain, like I have like huge back pain, and I know that it's connected to my roots. And it's connected also to an incident that I needed to just, to confront some kind of like a big pain with my mother. And when I did it, it started to really be very, very painful. So I'm in kind of like a quantum leap right now, and it's a little bit like foggy energy, not comfortable. I know that I'm moving forward. I need to do a lot of stuff, new stuff, that by just, letting go metal element, letting go of that conversation of this child that was there before she confronted her mother, I evacuated a lot of room. I created a lot of room to the new chapter, and the new chapter is already started. So it's kind of like very tricky place. It's not easy to be there, but as long as you observe that place, that phase, you understand that phase. The most important part here is to laugh at ourselves when it happens. Like today, I was trying to put my pants and I couldn't even put them. And I was like, in the past, I was like, oh, it's painful. Today, I was just laughing because I know that it's, my body's talking. Like when we're moving, our body is talking. And with that, we're going to finish because we have only 4 minutes. I just want to share, I will finish with that. Sometimes the process, it's here, okay? Not sometimes, it comes, it's from here. And sometimes when there are lots of resistance and it's stubborn and it doesn't want to move, I highly recommend you as practitioners or trainees who do one-on-one with who do the kit with yourself right now, is to go do some massage, like a warm bath, take a walk. You can go to something deeper, therapy, like deeper processes like hypnosis that can create some kind of like a turning point. And by doing it from a different angle, from a different place, you can connect the body to what is stuck there in this process. And especially you, Ilanit, when you work with Russian, and you said like they have like stiff muscles, combine all kinds of other alternative methods that they can connect themselves to the heart, to the body. It's important because it takes time. It's a big, I know it takes time until it sinks fully into the body.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I add something that I recommend.
Yeah.
When we feel that an energy is stuck,
Yeah.
I usually recommend doing something with our body. Like really going for a walk, for a run, for a hike, going to a different environment, move the energy through moving our body.
Big time. Big time. Big time.
Also music helps.
Pivot the energy towards a different direction, like really to pivot. Okay, what are you taking from here today?
That Shomi is moving the world.
You are a giraffe. I'm afraid of you. You're showing me something that I don't want to see yet.
Sometimes it's difficult to look at the truth.
Shomi has his own wings and it will
What are
develop
you
all
taking?
by itself. And it's not about me anymore. It's bigger than me and you can see it. And it will take it wherever. Like if the full intention will be good and there will be good people, as team practitioners and people who want and willing to take responsibility, it will lead wherever it's supposed to lead on. I'm on these waves. I will accept it.
What are you taking?
Ilanit. And then I will say what I'm taking.
I'm taking this energy that was created here, and it's all so synced and so right, and I love it. I'm taking the love.
I'm taking the love.
I'm taking the love.
I'm taking the love. No, I'm really taking the love because I can see the love. I can feel the love, and I can feel the excitement. And this is what I want. I want a space of excitement, of playfulness, of good people, good intention, really wise observation, working together, teamwork, dance. This is what I like. This is what I want to take from here. And I hope that I brought it. And thank you for helping me, for helping each other to be here. תודה. אוהבת אתכם.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.
Bye.
Bye bye.